this is something that probably worthwhile for anyone listening, is that I had never had anyone call and say, hey, I really love what you're doing with your marketing business. I'd like to be involved. As soon as I started talking about mature age work and ageism, people are calling. And that's how all our advisors have come on board. Every single one of them has rung up and said, oh, I read your book, or I read that article, or I was talking to somebody and they said I should speak to you. So this inbound interest from people, whether it's partners or potential clients or potential advisors, has only ever happened on the Silver and Wise business. It's never happened on the Blue Frog business. Because of the purpose.
Unpack that a bit, because
people
you know, we talk a lot, and I talk a lot about mission, purpose, vision as a really big deal. You know, and if you don't have it, it's akin to an impotence. You know, you mentioned the warm and fuzzy type stuff before. I think people often put it in the warm and fuzzy category. And you can see stats on Forbes and Inc. saying, you know, purpose-driven companies outperform, blah, blah, blah. But I also think because people struggle so much with, like, what is my purpose? And I overthought it a lot, thinking it was this mystical, magical thing that I needed to find, as opposed to just a commitment to fix something in the world, and keeping it as simple as that. So you've seen a new problem that you want to solve. That becomes the mission first. Then you start looking at the business model around it. But just walk me through a bit of that. Walk me through your evolution as being like a man on a mission. From someone's perspective that is kind of like in their business, doing their thing, selling products and services and marketing and funnels and ads and videos, and they're putting content out there and da-da-da-da-da. But if they're honest, they're sitting there going, wouldn't really say we're on a mission. Like if we were to interview their team wouldn't really necessarily say, if they were being honest, that they're on a mission. Whereas I get the sense that every single person in your organization now, like, that's the first thing.
It is, absolutely. And I think we've had various chats about this in the past, Glenn, but I'm very much of the view that everyone has a purpose, and we have it from the moment we're put on this planet. And I don't want to get spiritual or mystical about it, but everyone knows they do. And when we find it, that's when the magic happens. That's when you can build a strong business. It's when you can survive challenges. It's when you can push through things that try and stop you. It's when you're actually on that mission. And for most of it, it's about one word, and that's help. You look at any 2 or 3 year old child, and you've got a young child now. Even from a very early age, they'll walk over and try and grab a broom off you while you're sweeping. In fact, that the earliest, I think, when we had that purpose seminar a couple of years ago, or the 6th P, philanthropy. I remember being, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years old and going out with Dad on his floor covering business. And I remember picking up the broom and sweeping some of the dust away from where he was working, because I just wanted to help. It wasn't about that's my job or whatever. I just wanted to help. And of course, more times than often, I got under his feet and caused havoc and whatever I did. But if you look at any child from an early age, they're
Mila,
trying to help.
My daughter, so she's somewhere between 18 months and 2 years now. So I don't know. Everyone talks in months. She's close to 2 years. She's always like eating, and then she's like, Dad, and like feeding me and wanting to help. And it's like wanting to make sure that I'm like, that's for Mila. It's like in your mouth. And she's like, Dad?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So any person who's observed kids for any length of time has realised that they all have a unique personality. They have something that they like doing, something they're good at, whether it's music or sport or just helping around the house or whatever. And often you can talk to adults and direct their attention back to those moments, and they realise, oh yeah, that's right. That's what I really wanted to do as a kid. Or, you know, when people ask the question, what do you want to be? I want to be a princess. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman. Whatever. I know it sounds trite, but that's what, in my belief, if you're a business owner, you've got to connect to some kind of mission. And I don't mean just giving 10 cents for every dollar you earn, or a cent for. I don't mean giving away money.
Being up to something.
I just mean connecting for what. Yeah, being up to something. What is the purpose of your business?
And so you say that
money?
with a lot of conviction. Did you have that for the marketing business, or is this like a new elevation in your own perspective?
I think it's growth of me as an individual and other things that I've done in my life. I've always been interested in helping people, but the business had a purpose, but it was a purpose that was defined within
of the value
context
proposition.
Of marketing. It was, how do we help your value proposition? How do we help people use marketing as a tool to run a more successful business? So it's defined within that. So I think I was telling you I studied science and I was going to be a ranger. That was my initial career path. I was going to wander around the bush. I'm a trained botanist, so I was going to run around the bush, I don't know, cataloguing plants or something. That was what I wanted to do because I love the environment. So there was always, Blue Frog always had a sort of a background in sustainable marketing and the environment and that sort of stuff. But again, it was probably subverted to the mission of marketing as a value proposition. I've also done a lot in human rights over the years. So I've helped a bunch of people with some business in Indigenous areas. So I worked on some stuff with Brian Dorr and Patrick Dodson. They had a business called Common Fate, and I helped with the development of a logo for that, and just got involved. And a mate of mine was working on it, and I helped them out a bit. It wasn't a massive lot, but I went to some events and helped out there. And I love the Indigenous culture, and the aspect of human rights associated with that culture was of interest to me. I've supported human rights charities and other things in the past. So I think that was already inherently in my makeup as an individual, this idea of help, but also the idea of equality and of opportunity, and also individual responsibility to make a difference. And if we don't have those things, I think then business becomes about money, and frankly, that's fine, but it's
so
not
for someone
fulfilling.
that is in your No, let me ask this: if current Hunter could go back and whisper in the ear some advice to the Hunter of, I don't know, when was the marketing business at its peak? All right, so you go back and you're whispering in your ear then, in the context of this mission stuff, knowing that the old you is feeling pretty good about the human rights stuff and the contribution, and you've got that philosophy, but now knowing there's another level, what would you say to yourself?
I'd say to myself, elevate what you're doing beyond that thing, which is the money, revenue. It's got to be elevated to beyond that. Otherwise it makes no sense about chasing paper so you can buy shit. Chasing revenue so you can buy shit. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with making a difference and delivering a great product and delivering value, and being in exchange with your customers, making sure that they're happy that you've delivered on your promises. But the real joy of being a business owner, of generating a difference beyond just the difference to the person in terms of helping them with the service, making a difference to their ability, making a difference to their future, that's where it becomes special, because that's where you've then what's the best thing? It's where you fulfilled your role as a human being on this planet. I think is to help others and to make a difference to beyond just making the money.